He walked into the graveyard at midnight with nothing but a shovel and a sack. A fresh grave, a silent night, and the knowledge that someone at the university would pay handsomely for what lay 6 feet under. This is the story of 20 real jobs that once paid the bills, fed families, and shaped the world. But today, they're gone. Erased by time, by progress, or by the simple fact that no one needs a body snatcher anymore. Some vanished with the rise of machines. Others died quietly when technology knocked. And a few disappeared so recently, you might have actually done them. If you've ever waited for the milkman, rewound a VHS tape, or listened to someone read the news out loud while you worked, this video will take you right back. They weren't doctors, they weren't grave diggers, but they worked in the space between. Resurrectionists, also known as body snatchers, made their living digging up freshly buried corpses to sell to medical schools. It was illegal, dangerous, and deeply disturbing. But in a time before body donation, it was how many surgeons learned anatomy. Without them, modern medicine might have taken decades longer to advance. Terrifying, yes, but also transformative. Before radar, countries depended on human ears to detect enemy planes. Aircraft listeners used giant metal acoustic mirrors to hear the distant hum of approaching aircraft. It took intense focus and sharp hearing to distinguish between wind, engines, and silence. These jobs were crucial during wartime, often performed on remote outposts. They were the front line of early warning systems, replaced only when technology finally caught up with their instincts. Can you imagine calculating rocket trajectories by hand? Before digital computers existed, human computers, often women, performed the complex math behind engineering, astronomy, and space exploration. They worked with pencils, paper, and sheer intellect. Katherine Johnson, Mary Jackson, and Dorothy Vaughan were among the brilliant minds behind NASA's early missions. Their work was meticulous and underappreciated, yet their legacy helped launch humanity beyond Earth's atmosphere. The term may be gone, but the impact remains. How did people wake up before alarm clocks? They hired knocker-uppers. These early morning workers roamed the streets with long sticks or pea shooters, tapping on windows to wake their paying customers. It was a trusted profession in industrial cities where being late to work could mean losing your job. Some used canes, others used bells, but all had one task: get you up on time. They were human alarms in a world without snooze buttons. In loud, monotonous factories, Lectors brought words to life. They stood before rows of workers, reading newspapers, novels, and even political texts aloud during long shifts. For many, it was their only source of news, culture, or entertainment. The Lector's voice cut through the clatter of machines, offering a moment of mental escape. When radios became common, the role faded, but for a time they were the soul of the factory floor. Before indoor plumbing, the Dunny Man was a regular visitor in many neighborhoods. His job? Collect the waste from outdoor toilets, often in the middle of the night, hauling heavy cans of human waste to disposal sites. It was smelly, thankless, and essential. For decades, entire cities relied on their work. Modern sewage systems eventually made them obsolete, but their role kept communities sanitary in a world before flushing toilets. Long before bowling alleys had machines, pin setters, often teenagers, reset the pins by hand after every roll. It was fast, tiring, and sometimes dangerous work, especially when bowlers were careless. These young workers had to be quick on their feet, dodging balls and keeping the game moving. In the 1950s, automatic pin setters replaced them. But for decades, every strike and spare depended on a real person behind the lanes. The clink of glass bottles on your doorstep meant the milkman had come. Each morning he delivered fresh milk straight from local dairies, often knowing every customer by name. It was more than a job, it was a community ritual. Children waited eagerly, households planned around it. As supermarkets and refrigeration took over, the milkman faded away. But do you remember the sound of those early morning bottles? Behind every big screen was a projectionist, carefully threading reels, adjusting focus, and switching film reels at just the right moment. It was a precise craft that demanded patience and skill. A missed cue could ruin the experience for an entire theatre. With the rise of digital projection, the job became as simple as pressing play. But can a machine ever replace the magic of film handled by human hands? Rows of shelves, the smell of plastic cases, the thrill of choosing the perfect Friday night movie. Video store employees were the guides of that experience. They gave recommendations, restocked returns, and knew which titles were always rented out. It was a social ritual, a weekly event for many families. When streaming took over, the stores disappeared almost overnight. But for years, they were the heart of home entertainment. Before elevators ran themselves, lift operators controlled every ride. They opened and closed the doors by hand, managed the speed, and announced each floor with practiced rhythm. It was a job of precision and courtesy, often found in hotels, department stores, and office buildings. Their presence made the ride feel personal, almost ceremonial. As automated systems took over, their role quietly vanished, leaving behind echoes of a more elegant era. At the dawn of the telephone age, switchboard operators were the invisible hands connecting conversations. Seated before towering boards of wires and plugs, they manually routed each call with speed and accuracy. They memorized voices, numbers, and names, often working in fast-paced, high-pressure environments. By the 1960s, automation began to replace them. But for decades, every hello and goodbye passed through their fingertips. Before digital photos filled our phones, there was the quiet magic of film. Camera film developers turned unseen, moments into lasting memories inside darkrooms filled with chemicals and red light. They handled each roll with care, ensuring every shot came to life. Remember the wait to see if your vacation photos turned out. As digital cameras took over, the darkroom faded, but for years, this was where memories were made real. In the age of print, linotype operators were masters of metal and language. They operated complex machines that cast entire lines of type in molten lead, revolutionizing newspapers and publishing. Each keystroke shaped the words the world would read the next morning. It was demanding, technical work requiring precision and speed. As computers replaced hot metal printing, the role disappeared, but their hands once built the front pages that shaped history. Long before printing presses or copy machines, scribes were the keepers of knowledge. They spent countless hours hand-copying texts, from religious manuscripts to historical records. Every stroke of the pen was a labor of dedication and skill. Their work preserved culture, language, and belief across centuries. When printing was invented, the need for scribes declined, but without them, much of our written past might have been lost forever. What did people ride before cars took over the roads? They rode in carriages crafted by hand by skilled carriage makers. These artisans shaped wood, forged metal, and stitched upholstery to build elegant horse-drawn vehicles. Their work blended engineering with design, often tailored for the wealthy or the practical needs of everyday transport. When automobiles arrived, the craft declined rapidly. But for generations, they quite literally built the way forward. Before computers managed railways, signalmen were the guardians of the tracks. They operated levers and watched for signs, ensuring trains moved safely and on time. Every decision had to be precise, often made from isolated signal boxes along the routes. Their work required focus, intuition, and a deep understanding of train schedules. As automation took control, the signalman's role disappeared, but their vigilance kept entire rail networks running smoothly. When streets were dark and electricity was still a dream, Lamplighters brought cities to life each night. Walking their routes with ladders and flames, they lit every gas lamp by hand, then returned at dawn to extinguish them. Their glow guided travellers, shopkeepers, and night workers through the quiet hours. As electric lighting took hold, their job slowly faded. But for decades, they lit more than streets. They lit entire communities. Before atomic clocks and digital systems, clockkeepers were responsible for maintaining accurate time across towns, factories, and institutions. They wound mechanisms, adjusted gears, and ensured that each tick matched the rising and setting of the sun. Their work kept trains on schedule and workdays in sync. As synchronized electric timekeeping took over, the role faded quietly. But can you imagine trusting someone else to tell you what time it is? In the heart of early textile mills, slubberdoffers, often children, had one exhausting job: removing empty bobbins from spinning frames and replacing them with full ones. The machines never stopped, and neither could they. It was repetitive, fast-paced, and incredibly dangerous, with little protection or rest. Automation eventually made the job obsolete. But for years, these young workers kept the looms running in the shadows of industrial progress. Some of these jobs were hard, messy, even dangerous. Others were warm, familiar, and full of human connection. But all of them tell a story, not just of what we've left behind, but of how we keep moving forward. Progress doesn't just erase jobs, it creates new ones. And while we may miss the milkman or the quiet hum of a projection booth, we also gain time, safety, and entirely new ways to live and work. Which of these jobs do you wish still existed? And which one would you never want to do? Tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear your memories or stories from your family. If you enjoyed this trip back in time, leave a like and a comment. It helps the video reach more people and tells YouTube this is a story worth sharing. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.